Hey everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Yaroslav, I'm 22 and I'm on a mission to become a data scientist. Today we're going to be studying from the book Classic Computer Science Problems in Python. This one. A book that covers a lot of fundamental algorithms and problem solving techniques. Now, here's the thing, I should have learned all of this in university. We probably covered some of these topics in lectures, but well, I didn't really pay attention. Well, who does, right? If I'm being honest, I was one of those students who would rather stay home than go to class, sitting in a lecture hall listening to a professor talk about his life. You know, just wasn't my thing. But now I'm realizing how important all of this is not just for technical interviews, but for actually understanding how to solve real world problems efficiently. So instead of regretting it, I'm going to learn it properly now, hands-on, by coding, experimenting, and breaking things until I actually get it. And if you are in the same boat, if you feel like you didn't pay enough attention in class, or if you're just trying to catch up, then you're in the right place. Let's learn together. So the first topic here is the Fibonacci sequence. Well, that's, I guess, the classic, as book says. And I think we'll do it in this video. Let's get started. So let's start with the simple classic problem. If you're not familiar, the Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones, starting from 0 and 1. So we have 0, then we got 1, then we got 1 again, 2, 3, and so on. I can show you, I guess, in Paint. So we have 0, 1, sum of these two is 1, these two 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. Okay. So I'll show you an efficient way to compute the nth Fibonacci number using the iterative approach. So let's define our function, Fibonacci sequence. So we initialize two variables, last equals to 0 and next equals to 1. These represent the first two numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. By the way, guys, if you're not familiar, this thing is annotations. They have zero effect on code, so they don't actually do anything, just to show you that this function expects int for the n and expects output of int as well. And same logic around here. So last variable should be integer and next also should be integer. So it's pretty straightforward. So after that we iterate. We iterate n minus 1 times, since we already have account for the first element. Well, we not actually have completely forgot about it. If we got 0 as an input, we should get, well, right now without this, our program will result in 1. I'll show you why this will happen. Okay, so if n equals to 0, we return n. And we iterate, and we got last, next, the sum of both of them, and finally we return next. Let's test our function to see what we've got. Okay, so that's 0, 5, 10, 15. Okay, I will remove this to show you what will happen without this chunk of code. We should get 1. because we got 0 here, but we initialize next with 1, so we got return, so next return is 1. Let's check it out. Yes, 1, 5, 55, and a scary number, but you should get 0, and if I remove commenting over here, so you get the right answer. This method runs in O of n time complexity with O of 1 space complexity, meaning it's both efficient and doesn't use the extra memory. So now let's think of another way to generate Fibonacci sequence using Python generators. A generator is a function that returns an iterator using the yield keyword instead of return. Here's how we can implement Fibonacci using a generator. So let's define our function again. So it's quite the same. Instead of using return, we use yield. We need to yield 0. For fuck's sake, yield if n is greater than 0, yield 1. And after that we did quite the same. Plus next. Okay, and we yield next. Okay. So why we use a generator? Instead of storing all Fibonacci numbers in memory, we generate them on demand. The cool thing here is that we can iterate over our function, just like a list, but without the memory overhead. So let's do this for a in our function. Well, let's go 10, 8, 8. Okay. So if we need only a few numbers, we don't waste memory storing unnecessary values. Generators are great for working with large sequences where storing everything isn't practical. So hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.